Hey YouTubers, it's me, Lonnie Clark, Nuts for Art. Thank you for watching my channel and for following me. I wanted to kind of share a personal story with you. Many of you have followed me, have often heard me say that I did not hear about Fukushima until May 12, 2012. It was a year after Fukushima had happened and President Obama had come out and said, "Oh, we're safe. Don't worry about it. There's no harm to anybody here in the United States." And I remember thinking to myself, oh, thank goodness we have President Obama as president because we're safe. You know, they've taken the right action. Right. So then I had this nightmare on May 12, 2012, where I thought Hanford was on fire. I thought for sure I saw the whole sky orange. It was like a vision. And I went to the internet and I found out that actually, no, Hanford was not on fire, but Fukushima certainly was. And I was looking around. That's how I ran into Kevin Blanch. I don't know if many people now on YouTube know that Kevin Blanch and he came up with the idea of the Post-Ignorance Project, and I came up with the idea of sending him around the country to try to gather the masses. We wanted millions of people together. Only what happened was when he went out there, people didn't show up. I mean, they just didn't want to get involved. They don't mind being keyboard activists, but they don't want that likes and all the thumbs up and you go get them, Kevin. That was always there, right? But getting people in the street about nuclear, not so much. So that's the journey that we've had here. And I wanted to highlight the work of MsMilkytheclown. And let me see if I can find it. Hold on. Yeah, I'm going to go here to the work of MsMilkytheclown because she did some very, if you guys have not gone to MsMilkytheclown's page on YouTube, I strongly, highly recommend it because she did work that nobody, in fact, a lot of her really great work has gone away because of the fascists that run this whole gigantic lot of lies, you know. But she still made some hilariously funny videos and poignant. They were funny because she sort of made them like we would make them. Like, it's pretty interesting how great her work was. Honestly, it was, the commentary was hilarious, but still. So I'm going to take you to her web page. Let me get back to this and I'm going to screen share. I wanted to make sure I had her page up because I have several of her pages up. I have something from Dr. Busby. This, I did not know about this. Potential Meltdown in Japan by ABC. But look at all of her videos. This is MsMilkytheclown. And I did it by the latest. Look how long ago she was posting. In fact, MsMilkytheclown without the one started 7 years ago. So you can also find that. But these are the ones that are like the most horrendous, to be honest. They really are outraged. It's accident in progress 5 years ago. Okay, here we go. Let's try what she says on this one.
Tokyo Electric Power Company.
Hold on, I am going to stop it. And now I'm going to screen share. I didn't forget to screen share with you. I just wanted to make sure I had the right one. Because I want to show you guys the one with Dr. Busby and that other one and this one, because MsMilkytheclown was a vlogger, a YouTube vlogger who really did a lot of great work at the beginning of the Fukushima catastrophe. And she made it super funny. She had like a little bullshit button that was like bullshit. I mean, you got to go see her old videos. And I hope that her old videos are up on Vimeo. I remember a couple years ago, she was telling people it's going away if you guys don't make copies of it. And I didn't. I was in school. But I really want to show you these videos, and then I'm going to come back and talk to you because I got lots on my mind, which is why I wanted to come and make this video with you. But I tested this out, and I'm pretty sure this is going to work. So I'm going to screen share it with you. Let me do screen share and application window. And this is the guy we want to screen share now. And then I go back. Oops. Present to everyone. And then I go back to him. And watch this, you guys. Listen to this. This is MsMilkytheclown. TEPCO releases videos from accident in progress, but update 8/6/2012.
Company executives have bowed to pressure and released some of the most important evidence from the early days of Japan's nuclear disaster. They've unveiled videos that document the efforts to deal with the meltdowns and explosions at the Fukushima Daiichi plant. TEPCO officials showed the recordings to the media Monday. Select journalists will now be able to watch 150 hours of edited tape from March 11th to 16th, 2011. It tracks the back and forth conversations between workers at the nuclear plant and personnel at headquarters. TEPCO also released 90 minutes of edited video.
本店大変です大変です。はい。3号機多分水蒸気だと爆発が今起こりました。1号機と同じ爆発だと思います。現場の人のは対現場の人。はい。
The videos show workers struggling to contain the accident after the plant lost all power sources. A series of hydrogen explosions in the early days of the disaster confused them. Company executives were also puzzled about the government's intervention in the crisis. TEPCO officials banned reporters from making their own recordings of the videos. They haven't said if they will release video from after March 16th. NHK World's Yoichiro Tateiwa joins us and has been following this story. So tell us about the significance of this video.
Well, TEPCO's teleconference is the only remaining record of communication between workers at the plant and employees at the company headquarters. The video begins at around 6:30 p.m. on March 11th. It goes on to record critical conversations that reflect how decisions were made and how the situation changed from time to time.
Now, the accident happened more than a year and a half ago. Why did it take TEPCO officials so long to release this video?
Basically, they didn't want to release them. They hadn't disclosed the videos even existed. We found out about the recordings in March through the course of an investigation into the accident by a Diet-appointed panel. NHK and other media repeatedly made requests for access to the videos, but TEPCO officials had refused until now. They said the videos are internal records, and they cited concern about the privacy of their employees. They finally agreed to release the recordings from the 5 days from March 11th. They edited the image to prevent individuals from being identified.
How are people reacting to TEPCO's reluctance to release these videos related to the disaster?
Experts say all records should be under public control, even if access is limited. Tatsuya Yoshioka is the head of a Japanese NGO calling for the abolition of nuclear plants. Here's what he had to say.
This is the kind of very important historical document, the record. I hope the TEPCO themselves to decide to open up more and more, as much as possible, transparency. And but at the same time, that I would like to ask to the Japanese government to make a pressure to them to release all the information.
Right, so that did not happen.
Suing the company's executives filed a petition for the videos to be preserved as evidence. They fear that the utility may erase the recording. The proving to the causes of the accident is not finished. These videos will surely be needed for the investigation. The government should take action to preserve all records related to the accident. This incident in the public archives.
All right.
Wow. Video footage released by TEPCO Power Company shows the utility executives leaving Tokyo headquarters as the crisis of Fukushima nuclear daiichi was unfolding. What did she say there? I can't read that, Miss Milky.
The divide among Japanese lawmakers over the country's nuclear policy is delaying parliamentary hearings on the investigation report on the Fukushima accident. The Diet-appointed panel of experts last month submitted the report to both chambers of parliament. In the report, the panel criticised both regulators and the plant operator, Tokyo Electric Power Company, for failing to take steps to prevent the disaster. It called the accident an obviously man-made disaster. Some opposition parties have called for testimony by panel chair Kiyoshi Kurokawa. He's a former chairman of the Science Council of Japan. An appeal was also made at a recent meeting attended by heads of both chambers of the Diet and members of the expert panel. Participants proposed that a standing committee be established in the Diet promptly to discuss nuclear issues based on proposals made in the panel's report.
This is all just such
but
bullshit.
hearings are
It really
unlikely
makes
to be
me
held anytime
super
soon.
angry to watch
Political
this.
party.
So we're going to stop because my blood is beginning to boil. Oh, so let's go back. I won't stop sharing. How about this? I will go back to this. And I will show you some of the other ones from Miss Milky the Clown. Okay, and here we go. This was done July 25th, 2012. Dr. Chris Busby, radioactivity in apartment in central Tokyo, part 1. This in part 2, Dr. Busby describes measurements made on an air conditioning unit filter from inside an apartment in central Tokyo. This was sent by a lady in Tokyo who wanted to know if it was safe to live there. The filter only collected air from inside the apartment. It shows the presence of 130,000 becquerels per kilogram radiocesium in the dust, plus enriched uranium for the first time, lead-210, plutonium-210. The apartment was evacuated from the Tuesday after the catastrophe, and the machine switched off, and the family returned 5 months later. This and much more information about the health effects and cover-ups, including leaked data, are to be found on Dr. Busby's new book in Japanese, The Horror of Fukushima, published on 25 July by Kodansha in Tokyo. And then there's a YouTube link, as you guys can see. And creative use, reuse allowed. And we give Miss Milky all the credit in the world because she freaking did awesome work. Now listen to this. This is what got me going. I had that nightmare on May 12th, 2012. I went to the internet, and this is the kind of work Miss Milky the Clown was putting out. You guys want to know why I can't forget it? Because when I was looking into it, this is what was on YouTube. And that's why I'm playing it, because we need more people. People have forgotten what information has been out there. So I'm going to play this again.
And a lot of these have been car vehicle filters. I have quite a few of these here. In fact, here's a vehicle filter that I received. This one is actually quite radioactive. It's from Tokyo. And I'll be reporting, I have reported on some of these already, and I'll be reporting on others in due course. But what I want to talk to you about now is a filter which I received from a lady who lives in the Tokyo Tower. This is it. It came in an envelope. That's the envelope. Not in the Tokyo Tower. Who lives near the Tokyo Tower, about 300 meters, she says, from the Tokyo Tower, on the 20th floor, in an apartment on the 20th floor of a building. And she got in touch with me. Lots of people from Japan get in touch with me to ask my advice about whether they should evacuate, whether they should leave the country. And I usually say yes, incidentally, especially if they've got small children. Certainly get far away as they can from the contamination. So the question that she asked me was, should she get away because she was living in Tokyo? Was it very serious in Tokyo? So I said, well, send me an air conditioning filter, because she lived in this apartment high up, so 20 stories up, in the center of Tokyo. And I thought probably it would be all right, but the way to tell would be to look at an air conditioning filter if she had an air conditioning unit. A lot of people do. So she sent me this air conditioning filter, and here it is. Here's the air conditioning filter. See? It has a certain amount of dust in it, which I can show you. You see that see the dust in there? There we are. And so I didn't really expect to find anything in an air conditioning filter, particularly one like this one, which was just inside the flat. So in fact, it wasn't outside. It didn't take air from the outside. All it did was circulate the air inside and keep it cool or warm, depending on what they wanted. So it continuously circulated the air inside the apartment. And she told me that she'd left, that she'd switched this thing off and evacuated Tokyo for several months after the accident. So she went a far way away. So this filter was just sitting inside the apartment, and then she switched it on when she came back, which was several months after the accident. And so I really never expected to find anything, but I thought we'd better have a look and see. So along it came, and there's a certain amount of dust in it, but not very much. You can measure, you can weigh. I can scrape it off and measure the dust. But what I was mostly interested in, first of all, was to use see, we have a number of instruments here, but the first one to look at it with was a Geiger counter. So I looked through the package with a Geiger counter. It didn't look too bad. Didn't really look much above background. And we have some quite big, sophisticated gamma spectrometry equipment here. This is a large cesium iodide crystal. You put the sample in the hole. It's called a well detector, and then you measure the gamma radiation in there. But in this case, what I decided to do was, because there was not much dust, I decided to use a beta scintillating counter, one that also detects alpha emitters. That's this device here. I've got it switched on at the moment, and it's measuring just the background here. You can see the background here varies slightly, but it's about 3 counts per second. If you integrate it, it's about 3 counts per second. We've got 2.81 there now, but it goes up and down, and you can integrate it over a long time period, and we get 3 counts per second. And the detector head, which I can show you here, is, where is it now? There, you can see it. You see that? That's the detector head. It's at the moment it's looking at a piece of paper, and so we're going to put this filter onto the piece of paper and see what we find. So I'm going to do that now, and I have to be rather careful here because this dust might well be radioactive. And in fact, actually, since I've done this already, I can tell you that it is.
Wow.
I mean, actually, what I'm doing here is rather dangerous.
Wow.
But in fact, although it's dangerous, you have to recognize that a lot of people are going to be working with filters, and technicians are going to be working with filters in Tokyo. And they're not at all going to realize that these filters are extremely dangerous materials. Now let's see what we've got here. Yes, you see. Now the count rate from this filter's gone right up. It's gone up to 5, 6, 7 counts per second. Here we are. Listen to that. It's got 9, 10 counts per second here doing this. What have we got there? We've got 5 counts per second there. I'm not going to leave it out anymore because I'm a bit nervous about this whole thing, and I should really be wearing a mask and all the rest of the gear. but let's live dangerously occasionally. Anyway, the point is that the amount of material on this filter which created that increase in radioactivity, not good, is very little. I scraped some of it off and weighed it, and I found that it was about 1/10 of a gram, maybe, on the bit that's underneath the scanner here. So 1/10 of a gram of this dust is doubling the background radiation to the probe, or more than doubling it, really. Well, yeah, about doubling it. So you're talking about something that's seriously radioactive. Anyway, I put this inside the gamma spectrometer in this contraption, and I found that the concentration of cesium-137 in there was enormously high, higher than I've seen anywhere else, certainly higher than any of the vehicle filters.
Wow.
So we have a serious problem in Tokyo, and I think that's really what I wanted to say. We're talking about hundreds of thousands of becquerels per kilogram in this dust, and this is dust that was recirculated from inside somebody's apartment on the 20th floor of a building which was about 300 meters from the Tokyo Tower, right? I think this is quite a serious discovery. I think that at minimum, what should be done here is that people who are servicing these filters should be told that they represent a serious hazard for inhalation of the dust. And in fact, in the United Kingdom, they would have to be licensed. So people who were working on these car filters.
Look, listen to this, you guys.
And I think that's really what I wanted to say. We're talking about hundreds of thousands of becquerels per kilogram in this dust. And this is dust that was recirculated from inside somebody's apartment on the 20th floor of a building which was about 300 meters from the Tokyo Tower, right? I think this is quite a serious discovery. I think
look at his face. Look.
Building which was about 300 meters from the Tokyo Tower, right? I think this is quite.
Look at this face. He is telling us this is a serious issue. This is
quite a serious discovery. I think that at minimum, what should be done here is that people who are servicing these filters should be told that they represent a serious hazard for inhalation of the dust. And in fact, in the United Kingdom, they would have to be licensed. So people who were working on these car filters or filters for air conditioning units or any other filters would have to be licensed under the Radioactive Substances Act. And they would have to have dosimeters, and their urine would have to be tested, and all sorts of things would have to happen to them, because there are laws in Europe that prevent people from working with radioactive material as radioactive as this. So something should be done about it, and that's why I'm making this this short video. That this material is being sent at the moment to another laboratory for testing.
Listen.
And they would have to their urine would have to be tested, and all sorts of things would have to happen to them, because there are laws in Europe that prevent people from working with radioactive material as radioactive as this. So something should be done about it, and that's why I'm making this this short video. That this material is being sent at the moment to another laboratory for testing for more accurate testing as to how much radioactivity is there and what other isotopes are there which can't be detected by this equipment here, which is rather, well, it's very good. It doesn't have very high resolution, so it's not able to see
This, let's go here. This happened. Did you guys know about this? March 12th, 2011. That's interesting. I had my dream on May 12th, 2012. I did not know that the Anagawa nuclear power plant was considered a very serious thing. And I would love to know the history of why they were talking about this when these things were about to blow up.
Disaster of unknown proportions. The effort to sort through the massive disaster areas in northern Japan is just beginning. And take a look at this, an aerial of what around 24 hours ago was a town of 71,000 people, now completely underwater. No structure still standing. And Japanese media has just reported that authorities there have found 200 to 300 bodies on a beach in Sendai, the city near the epicenter of today's massive 8.9 magnitude quake. But that was just part of what has been a day of historic devastation for this American ally. It is Saturday in Japan, and a nation all too familiar with earthquakes is still trying to grasp the most violent ever recorded in their land. The countryside is choked with smoke from fires that burned all night long. More than 400 are dead, almost 1,000 still missing. Entire neighborhoods are underwater, and the world watches as 2 nuclear reactors remain dangerously unstable. As rescues begin in Japan, families back here in the States anxiously await any word on their loved ones. But it was this moment, 2:46 in the afternoon, when Japan's nightmare began. The ground began to shake. 32 million people here in Tokyo braced themselves.
Oh, I wonder if this is going to get a copyright strike. Standard YouTube license. Well, I'm going to stop and I'm going to say there's no intent of stealing this. I give them complete full credit. I'm less than 2 minutes in. So I'm going to stop. I just realized that that was ABC, so we're going to not do that one. Sorry. Let's go to Miss Milky the Clown again because her video list is freaking awesome, you guys. I strongly recommend you follow everything that Dr. Busby talks about.
The minor constituents or some of the constituents that only have weak gamma signals, like, for example, lead-210. I found lead-210, which is a very serious radionuclide. Lead has a low boiling point, and it's very likely to be in the general mix of stuff that came from Fukushima. And it has a daughter nuclide, which is polonium-210. And polonium-210 is the stuff that killed Litvinenko. So we have some serious stuff floating around Japan. Anyway, thank you very much for listening to me, and I'll talk to you again. This is the gamma spectrum of the sample that we scraped from the filter. And we can now ask the program to analyze these peaks that you see. And I'll just do that. Ask for a full analysis. And you see that the program is running across the peaks here, and each one of these peaks comes out at a particular position in terms of its energy, and then we'll get an analysis. Now here's the spectrum analysis. It tells us what's in the sample, and we can see immediately that the sample contains cesium-134, and here we have 42,000 becquerels per kilogram, and cesium-137 we have 68,000 becquerels per kilogram. And also interestingly, you see here we have a lot of lead-210. Now lead-210 is a very interesting radionuclide. It's normally natural decay product of radium-226, but here we've got far too much of it. We've got 7,500 here, 7,500 becquerels per kilogram of lead-210, and that's almost certainly from the reactor because there's no bismuth-214 there, which is what we would expect if it was natural. And also there's thorium-234. Now look at that, that's the daughter of uranium-238, so that's giving us 3,000 becquerels per kilogram of uranium-238, and there's also uranium-235. We've got 240 becquerels per kilogram of uranium-235, so far too much. Now we're going to ask this to put in the nuclides, so we'll do that. Here we are, nuclides, and it says show nuclides. Okay, so we can ask it to do that. Now we can go to any point here and look at the spectrum to see what there is, and here's the thorium-234. See, And there's the lead-210. Let me take you a bit closer to this, and you can see how clever this stuff is. See this? So there's quite clearly lead-210, thorium-234. These are very, very small sample. There's thorium-234 again. Let's move across here and see what we've got. We'll go up here at this. And there's uranium-235 here. See that? Now, uranium-235, that's that peak there, is telling us that we've got a lot of uranium-235. That means with the other thing, we've got clearly, now there's some cesium-134. Now, these are the big peaks of cesium here. Here's the big cesium-134 peak. Where is it? There. There it is. Look at that. See? So that's a big cesium-134 peak there. And remember, this sample is the sample that I scraped off that filter that I showed you. There's cesium-137. There we are, cesium-137. So this technique enables us to tell exactly what it is in the sample. Very clever stuff, really. Although it does cost a bit of money because I haven't got a machine like this. Cesium-134. And of course, there are various other substances there, including natural substances. So we will have potassium-40 at 1460. Let's see if we can find that for you. There it is, potassium-40. So we know it's potassium-40 because we know where the peak is. It's at 1460. So what we can say about this sample is that what we said before is true, that the sample is extremely radioactive. The filter is extremely radioactive, and it contains high levels of uranium and lead-210 and cesium-137, all substances which are inside an apartment on the 20th floor of a block 300 meters from the Tokyo Tower. Isn't that quite something?
I wanted to play this again, you guys.
It's quite something.
We need to know that this is still going on.
Rhodium-102 we have here.
They're not being told.
This is a fission product.
They're not being told. It's still happening.
Fukushima. But the most serious one, the one has the U-235. I mean, these peaks are not very large, but then remember the sample is really small sample. It's just a few grams. Thorium-234. So that's our uranium peak. And there's far too much uranium there. It's about 3,000 becquerels per kilogram. It should be about 20. Wow. So this uranium is from Fukushima as well, which means that particles of uranium are floating about in central Tokyo. Scary stuff. Scary stuff.
You know, all this took up a long time, but I want you to see these video clips, and I want people to understand that these things are still going on, and it is really vital that we contact our federal officials and tell them we do not need nuclear anything. The nuclear industry is struggling because it is a disaster for humanity. And this whole idea that we need nuclear medicine is incorrect. It's not a healthy thing. There are plenty of other ways to heal people. I seriously disagree with it. You know, we have this idea that I actually said this on my radio show. Trump is never going to meet with Kim Jong-un. This whole thing has just been a little show. But the threat of nuclear war is very real because they want to use the weapons. They want to see what they got. And we need to prepare. People need to get duct tape. You need to get your emergency kits together. Make sure you have those little straws that you can filter your water with, have some water on hand, or figure out how you're going to get it, and like within short order. I don't know. It's hard to prepare because we're never really prepared for anything like this, but I think it's important, especially since we know that there's the gigantic volcano going on over there and the whole earthquake thing. And there's a lot of movement. And that's exactly what happened in Japan, was like right before Japan, the whole planet just kind of crumbled, and did stuff. So the day the world changed. And it was ironic because I kind of got it like in an aftershock. Maybe that's what happened with me. But put your courage feet on, you guys, and let's believe in peace and the higher power, and let's just choose optimism. That's what I think. We need to just choose the optimism and choose the higher ground and the higher optimism. And it is grim. It doesn't mean that it has to be miserable, but it is a journey because we have been taken down the wrong road, lied to, abused, punched in the face, left to die, and we get to drag ourselves out of the gutter and regroup and recuperate, and if we can, heal the planet. What's our options? That's our only option for living, is we have to decide we're going to heal the planet and heal ourselves. So ciao, in true Lonnie fashion. Bye-bye. See you tomorrow or the next day.